sort of the theory, I think, if you have an iPad, is that you probably won't have to do a lot of printing, to begin with, because everything, you're looking at it, it's, whether it's in the notebook format, web page, or whatever, but, certainly there's going to be occasions where you're going to want to print stuff. And inherently, on the iPad, it wants to use AirPrint. And inherently at Carthage, we don't have very many printers with AirPrint capabilities. If you, bought one out of your department budget or whatever, you might have one. You might be able to get it to work, et cetera, but generally it's all our computer, all our printers are networked. And there's not a really good way in the iPad just to add a network printer, but as Marta was saying, this is one of the apps that we will have available. It's called Print Central Pro. And I'll just walk you through a little bit about how it works and a few things that you can do. The first thing that I would recommend with Print Central Pro, quite frankly, is you probably want to download Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that. It's very helpful. You can print directly from those apps. And so, for example, if I look at, I'll go to Google Drive right here. And so, for example, here's all the Carthage printers right here. And so, I can go and, print that directly in Print Central Pro and print. This is to our reception printer right here. But if I want to change the printer, and this is, you guys will get directions on this, you have to actually change the IP address of the printer here. And so to do that, it's like, it looks like I'm going to print 1072214 right now. If I want to print, for example, to the printer right over there, HL172, I'm going to go ahead and choose. And you'll notice that it's looking at all these other potential printers out there, DeskJet, and it might be the case where you might see that some of those are available. Personally, I don't know whose those are. And so, OfficeJet 6000, E609, that could be in the new president's office or something like that. So I haven't found a good way to rename a printer on this list yet, but if you print directly to an IP address, you'll be pretty secure knowing where that goes. So to add a new printer, it gives you, a list of different possibilities. Now, one of the possibilities, and I don't recommend this, Print Central Pro, the first piece, it says we print right there, and theoretically you can print through your computer using it as a proxy, but then other people can also see some of those documents on your computer, so I wouldn't recommend that. And so just to print to an IP-based printer, just go ahead, select printer, and the IP address to that one over there, 10.7.
While he's typing this in, if you have a network printer somewhere nearby you, like one of the copiers, or maybe in a math lab or something on that order, there's probably a way for it to print out a configuration page that would show you what the IP number of that printer is. If you don't know or you can't figure it out, we can probably look it up for you or send somebody over to figure out how to print out that thing. So if you're printing in, let's say, Karen Peters' office or your whatever, there's an IP number associated with any network printer that we have on campus. You might want to set up the library ones just, for the heck of it, so that when you're here, you can print the library ones.
If it's not a networked printer, but is printing off of a networked computer, can we print through it?
That's what Chris was saying. If you set up the WePrint thing or whatever, yeah, it would probably work. The question is, do you want to make that available?
It's because everybody will see it. It's not a. I don't think it's a great piece of security for the WePrint kind of thing for your house, maybe, yeah, but around here I wouldn't do it. Here's what I want you guys to really remember from this whole spiel here. Option 2, PS, PostScript. If you choose option 3 or option 1, and we don't really know why, but with one of those options, it's just going to start spitting out reams of paper, okay? And so, Yeah, blank pieces, I'm not quite sure why it's interpreting it that way, but if I go ahead and hit test, it's gonna ask you to test it twice. One will be for, one will be a text thing or whatever, and I'll say yes, it printed. And then the next piece is a little rainbow that prints, you know, for the image. And basically that's all you have to do, you know, to set up, you know, the printer. You know, it works, you know, fairly easily that way. Now, the app itself, do I want to print the printers? No, I'll just go ahead and cancel that. Now the app itself, when it's downloaded, oh, here we go. When it's, nope, wrong one, sorry. When you're in Print Central Pro, just a couple of things that it's good to be aware of, where, you know, you can't directly print, you know, unless you're printing from AirPrint. Like if you're in Safari or the browser on here, you can't print directly from it, but within Print Central Pro, you know, it has its own little browser, so, you know, as long as you're in here, you know, I can go ahead and, you know, choose the little printer icon, hit print, it's gonna print, you know, to the printer right over there if I wanted to. You have a little clipboard and images, you know, from your camera roll that get automatically imported. For email, it's something that you have to set up specifically within Print Central Pro. So how you set it up originally to get your Carthage mail into the email, if you want to set it up for Print Central Pro, very similar process. I'll go ahead and click on email, and there's a little plus sign up in the upper right hand side, and you know, if you have a Hotmail account, another Gmail account, an iCloud account. How many of you guys have iCloud or using iCloud? Okay, about half. So pretty simple to do, and the same with like Dropbox and Google Drive. If I go over to Files, you know, I can go ahead and where it says Places and Cloud Servers at the top right there, I can go ahead and I can add, you know, another cloud server. So right now I have Google Docs and Dropbox, and what's nice about that is it, you know, looks directly into my Google Docs, and let's see how long this takes here. What it doesn't do is it puts everything in an alphabetical list with the files in the folder, so it doesn't contain it quite as nicely as the app in G Drive. But if I wanted to add another, you know, cloud server as such, I'd go ahead, hit the little plus sign again, and add one of the ones that are available. I don't know how to add one if it's not on that list, quite frankly. So but I think those are probably like the most common ones. So like in a nutshell, to make this work, you gotta have Print Central Pro. You have to know the IP address of the printer, and you gotta choose option number 2, PostScript. So,
If we have the network printer has an IP address, known IP address, do you need to configure the actual printer in order to receive printing requests from iPad apps?
no,
Or in the library.
no, it's like the only thing you need to know is like as long as you have like the IP address, just what I did right here, it'll always print directly to it. So we have a lot of printers on this campus, so you know, we'll make the IP addresses available like when you guys need them.
Do you guys have any plan sharing that list that should us with the printers and their IP addresses?
Yeah, we can share that with everybody here. I have all your email addresses and stuff, so I'll send you a link to all that.
I think you have to download Google Drive then too, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
well, no, you don't have to necessarily, but let me show you, you know, why I like Google Drive or Dropbox. With the apps, Google Drive and Dropbox, if I have a document right in there, I can kind of skip over, for example, here's all the IP addresses, but, you know, so if I were to choose like Carthage printers right here, and that's pulling it right from Google Docs right away, and if I just want to go ahead and print that, I think it's a little easier. You know, it says open in Print Central Pro. Is not supported for viewing, I don't care. I'm gonna stop there. I don't know the answer to that one, so, but, that's just a regular Excel. I don't know why it says it's a zip file, but it's something that I did, couldn't tell you why. Let me try like another document here from Google Drive. Oh, let's try. This is really small right here. I don't have too much stuff on it. Let's see if this could be the same. Okay. I'll have to figure that one out, so go ahead and cancel that. That's right from G Drive. Chris?
If worst comes to worst, we can download the document, send it by email to our computer and print it, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And, you know, it's one of the things where, like with email in here, where like a really easy way, like if you send it to yourself as an attachment and then open it up in Print Central Pro, that's a really easy way to print it from there. And so that works.
Both ways.
Goes both ways, yeah. All right, our hope is that there's not a lot of printing.
Save the trees, save the trees.
Just one other thing that I'll mention, just as long as I'm up here, some of you guys might have noticed that there was like a little passcode that I entered in to get into my iPad. And when I was setting up my iPad with all my email accounts and documents and things like that, it's like I can only assume that there's going to be some sensitive information in there. So, you know, setting up a little security lock isn't the worst idea. And so if you want to do that, you just have to go into settings. And if you go into general and then passcode lock right there, you can set up a little 4-digit number just to make sure that nobody gets into your iPad after, if you tend to leave it around places.
Okay, Bruce is gonna show us how to plug our iPad into the projector. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Is it safe to assume everybody wants the IP addresses? Is that pretty safe for that? Probably, yeah.
As many of you may know, okay, I'm a retired sailor, and I spent my last 5 weeks, last 5 years, I should say, of my time in the Navy at boot camp, okay? And it's a lot more fun when you've got crap up on your collar than it is the first time through. This is nothing like that boot camp, okay? I know, I've spent a lot of time in boot camp. I'm supposed to talk to you about connecting your iPad to data projection. Okay, I think all of you are existing faculty members except Rain. I'm sorry, what first name again?
My first day's tomorrow, does that count?
Well, that's pretty close, okay. But I would imagine that all of you probably at one time or another have connected your computer, laptop, whatever, to one of our data projectors throughout college. This is very much the same, okay? Just think it's a computer. It's not quite, but it's very close to being a computer, okay? And you probably recognize this. It's on the side of your computer. It's a VGA, Video Graphics Adapter plug. Each one of you are going to get one of these little dongles that connects to your iPad, just like as if you were charging the iPad. And then you take the VGA cable and plug it in there. And you have to put it in right side up. And carefully. And bam, there it is. It's that easy, okay? If you have sound that you're using as well, take a little 3.5 millimeter sound plug, it looks like a headphone plug, plug it in the headphone portion of your iPad, which happens to be on the other side of it, okay? We've got
We're watching it turn sideways.
Yeah, I know. We've got this adapter here, and we've got the phone plug, headphone plug over here. I guess I lost my connection.
It won't project sideways. Rotate. Oh, it does. Wow.
Fooled you,
Well, just have to
Pat.
wait. I tried it just this morning and it refused, but I guess I didn't wait long enough.
Okay, so yes, it will project sideways, otherwise you've got a problem if you're using sound. Okay, now, some caveats, okay? One of them is if you're showing something with motion, okay? Say you're showing a Netflix movie or something like that, and you're projecting it. Or a YouTube video, something like that. You're going to get picture up here and kind of a warning on the iPad that, hey, look at the screen. It's not here, it's on the screen. It only projects one of the two places. Why? I'm not absolutely sure. It may just be that the video card that's in here, okay, well, it gives you a fantastic display. Maybe it's not powerful enough to handle two displays at once. I really don't know what the reason is, but don't panic. That's the way it works. Okay, you're only going to have motion video up on the screen if you're projecting to the screen. Okay, the same happens like if at home, if you have Apple TV and you're projecting something from your iPad to the Apple TV. You're only going to get the video one place or the other, not both. Okay. Mike Murphy tells me that he has watched YouTube video or whatever, some sort of a kind of documentary sort of thing on the iPad and projection, and that people are saying that if you have this kind of a dongle, like this, but it goes from the iPad to HDMI, that HDMI, you can see it on both devices, okay? We don't have that much equipment that's HDMI around here yet, and we're not giving you HDMI adapters, so. That's just for general purposes. Now, I was given 15 minutes, and as you can see, this is really easy. It's plug and play, okay? So a little more information that I'm going to give those of you who are new and or existing faculty members, just some things that, some general information about media services here within the college. And of course, everything's going to be oversized, okay? So we're not going to do that right now. Okay, let me just give you the information, okay? First of all, again, my name is Bruce Metzler. I work in media services. I have a staff of probably close to a dozen students that work for me at any one particular time. And it's our job to keep things working for you in the classrooms, okay? Whether it's data projection, whether it's sound, or now we've also inherited all of the computers that are in the classroom. So we're no longer just media services, we're media services and classroom technology. If you need help, call the My Carthage Resource Center, send us an email, av@carthage.edu. Just get in touch with us, okay? The phone number at the My Carthage Resource Center, extension number 5950. But most of our classrooms don't have telephones that you can pick up and call an extension. So the phone number is area code 262-551-5950. Give us a call. Or send an email. Probably the best thing to do in order to create a request tracker ticket is send an email to media@help.carthage.edu. media@help.carthage.edu. We'll create a request tracker ticket. You become the requester. You get all the information and the updates as to what's going on from the point of your ticket's created all the way until the ticket is resolved and we've solved your problem. So again, our phone number, extension 5950 or 262-551-5950. Basically, if you have class, we're open. It's just that simple. We're not quite a 24/7 operation, but We are open weekdays. Now, this is during the regular school year. We're open weekdays, 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. So basically, if you're in class, we're open. Call if you need help. We'll dispatch someone right away if that's your desire. Okay, but obviously, if we dispatch someone right away, that's going to interrupt your class. So that's your call. Okay, whether you want us to come right away or whether you want it fixed, say, before the next class period. We're also open 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We're closed Sundays. And during the summer, we're only open 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We're closed both Saturdays and Sundays. But basically, if there's a class going on, we've got someone there on call to give you a hand. Don't be shy. Give us a call. Don't sit and complain, you know, this thing hasn't worked for 3 weeks. You know what? You know why it hasn't worked for 3 weeks? Probably because nobody's told us it's not working. Tell us it's not working, we'll do everything that we can to get it fixed and get it fixed as quickly as possible. But if we don't know it's broken, we're not going to come fix it. It's just that simple. Once again, media services and classroom technology. Call the My Carthage Resource Center. That's the information and help desk area here in the library. They'll get in touch with us and dispatch one of us, or they'll put you directly in touch with us. And again, the phone number 262-551-5950. I've probably still got a couple of minutes left out of my 50. I haven't got through it in a couple of minutes. Yes, questions?
Question. Even with my laptop, sometimes if there's another large audiovisual file like a Netflix, the buffering is challenging. Has that been a problem with iPads in the classroom using Wi-Fi?
Potentially, yes. Okay, and an iPad only has Wi-Fi. If you're doing something like that, okay, and you're experiencing problems, then I would go with a wired connection with a laptop,
Okay.
quite honestly. A laptop's always going to provide you a more reliable and faster connection than Wi-Fi will. So yes, there can be a buffering problem, okay, and it's not the iPad, okay, it's not even our network necessarily. It's just one of those things that happens. It happens in my house all the time with Netflix, where I've got a buffering issue. And it's not the equipment, it's essentially how much
Most of the
data
time
I'm
it's the
trying to
internet,
send.
because you're sharing the connection here on campus with a couple thousand other people, you know, and especially if it's an evening class, you probably got, 700 students in residence halls watching Netflix at the same time as you,
Yeah.
so,
But that wouldn't matter Ethernet or wireless.
no, it wouldn't.
One other thing that I didn't mention, okay, and again, thanks to Mike Murphy for this observation, and that is sometimes if you're showing a movie that you have purchased, or that you've purchased the rights to, or that you've rented, it's not going to display via this thing, okay? Why not? Well, we're not absolutely certain, but we suspect that it has something to do with the licensing rights, okay? That you're licensed like for you to watch it, not for you to show it to a group. Okay, so you may have difficulties showing things via this if it's a copyrighted thing that you've rented or purchased. Okay, so you want to test that out.
You test it in your classroom before you get standing there in front of 30 kids that now you don't know what to do because the movie
Yeah,
doesn't show.
yeah, test it out first, okay, especially if you're doing something like that. Okay, or I would guess that it'll probably work off your computer, okay, if you've got a Netflix sort of thing. Wendy?
Bruce, just want to double check, so when you connect your iPad to the projector, the resolution or the screen size is automatically adjusted so that the projector is showing the full screen, right?
Yes, so that's been our experience at any rate. We're still kind of new at this, but with the new iPads, the older iPads, Pat Foffels worked with the older iPads, okay, and he had to kind of coax them to do what you wanted to do, okay? Everything that we've experienced, and I think you've experienced as well, Pat, okay, has been, it's a plug-and-play operation. It just goes, they're smart enough to go out and do what they need to do to adjust and to display, even sideways. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
You may know I'm one of the technology mentors, along with Eric, who's here today, and Rob Maska and Julie Dawson. And we are resource people for the faculty. And please do consult us, call on us whenever you have questions or whenever we might be able to be helpful. And if we don't know the answer, we'll consult with one another and with everybody else and try to come up with some help for you. I've been using the iPad for about 2 years now. I haven't had an iPad 1 that I've been using for a long time and used in a lot of different applications and have had really good success with it. And I'm very happy to have this new iPad because now I can actually put it on the screen like this, which is really exciting. The one you could only put on the projector in certain applications. There's a program called Goodreader that worked, and then you could also show pictures on the screen, but you couldn't do screen emulation like this, so that really makes a huge difference now to have that available, and I think it's going to become an even more valuable tool for that reason. So let me see if I can do something here. Again, this is Diane's, my wife Diane's machine, so I can't really do the things I was hoping to do until I get mine back. Let me tell you a little bit about LogMeIn. This is a program that allows you to access and control other computers from your iPad. Okay? So if you're thinking about taking the iPad on the road and you're worried about not having access to all your files, things that might be on your home computer or your work computer or whatever else, LogMeIn is one of the answers to that question and to that problem. Provided everything is set up properly, you can access and connect with your home machine or your office machine through this particular app, which I'd love to show you. And that really does solve a lot of problems and again, makes it really easy to take along, to use the iPad on the road rather than actually having to schlep your really big laptop with you. I know that's so arduous, but I was thinking back to the first laptop I had, which I think was a Sony or something, maybe Radio Shack, I don't even remember. It was so long ago. The battery was much bigger than the iPad for the laptop. I remember that was, we won't go talking about when that was. Let's see, I did open up the LogMeIn, but they wanted me to install a plugin. You can also use LogMeIn through the internet on any machine. So you can log in with a name and password and get access to machines from anywhere you are. So if you can see here, it's a little, is it me or is it out of focus? You can see, here's my home machine is on here, my office machine is on here, and also my mother's machine is on here, although she's offline right now. So if I actually, seriously, this is a really convenient thing. Any of you who have aging parents who are not necessarily tech savvy, if you can actually control their machine, and there are a number of ways of doing this, but one way you can do it is through LogMeIn, and you can help. You know, if they get stuck somewhere and can't find something, it's really nice to be able to access that. So those three are what I have available. The little stop sign over here, a warning sign on the left, is actually just telling me that my virus protection needs updating, something like that. And you can see it gives you a little bit of information. I actually have a subscription to what's called LogMeIn Pro. There's a number of different levels, starting with a free program that hopefully Chris will be able to show us in just a second, and then working all the way up to a more expensive program that gives you access to all these machines from wherever you might happen to be. So if I go to my home machine, hopefully, we go. Oh, see, it wants me to do this. I'm going to skip that and hope that it works. Again, I haven't tried it without this before. The computer access code, I should be able to remember. Oh, it did it anyway? No?
What do you need, Dan? I use it.
Did you-
I use it as well, so I have,
Oh, you do?
yeah,
Okay,
so I log into my account.
okay, hang on one second.
I also have my mom on here.
So there you go. Proof positive.
So all the girls have their dads.
Why is it
on
doing
there?
this?
One of those
I
things,
don't know.
boys have their moms.
This was working so well on my machine.
I don't have a lot of patience with computers. It's easier to work with some.
My mom's funny, she's like, "This is like, I'm gonna turn it on." She's like, "I ain't touching it."
Okay, let's try this.
Paranoid there?
Yeah,
Browsing going on?
Who's spam? Who's spam? Who names their kid spam? It amazes me, I've gone to my quarantine email the other day, just how much stuff gets off and it's open.
And you know what happened this other time? I went to check someone.
Okay, again, so this is the screen, one of the screens on the computer that's in my office, and you can see you actually get basically the same kind of finger control you would have anywhere else. You can enlarge it as you need it, and again, this works. There is an iPad app for this that we can look at in Chris's machine in a second, but you can see I can come in here and I can open up something. I should be able to open up something. Yeah, there we go, whatever it is. There's obviously delay just because you're working from a distance, but it is pretty slick.
Does it require that you leave your office computer on?
You can, yes, you leave your office computer on, you set it so that it doesn't sleep, but you can still have the screen go off after however long you want. If it goes to sleep, it is possible to wake it up if you can go through another computer in the network. But otherwise, if it goes to sleep, you're in trouble. Several times I've had to call my neighbor and tell him to go over and kick the thing so that it would start. Chris, let me try this.
Okay, you can get it in my email.
Excellent. I'll start sending some messages.
Yeah, sure. There you go. I'm logged into my computer. That was gonna have control of your computer, Chris.
Come on, I wouldn't do anything too dire. Is this one? All right, so yeah, okay, so now we've got Chris's computer on the screen, and again, you can see the control here is just like a little mouse on the screen that you can roll around. You can open up a message from Prissa Moore just saying she's out of town. I think that's okay to do that, right? There you go. She's out of town until August 13th. Well, she should be back now.
Make sure she's in her office.
And again, you get the ability to work with any of these sorts of things. Your calendar is available, which is also on your iPad, but if for some reason you needed to get into it. If you want to go to, let's see what else Chris has.
Yeah. I saw Huey Lewis on the tongue. That was really good.
If you need to open up any of any pictures or anything like that.
Don't do pictures.
All right. So, but what you see is this is controlling Chris's screen, and you have complete access to anything that you would normally have. Now, sometimes it's a little bit fumbly. Sometimes I use a stylus with it if I'm doing a lot of work on it. But the biggest thing is that you can access something in a hurry. If you needed to email yourself something from your home computer, you can do that really quickly. Okay?
Or sometimes you might have like just a program that's on your computer that you need to access
Sure.
for something
Sure.
very specific, and it's not on your iPad, whatever. So it's,
I had one thing that happened over the weekend, and that was I got a manuscript back from some editors who had made a bunch of changes and track changes. And on my iPad, I had only Pages. I don't know if the Office app works or not. I'm going to try that. We'll find out. So I couldn't get track changes. So I actually went into my home computer logged me in. I was able to go through the track changes. Again, it's a little bit, it takes a little bit of time, but you can get through and you can see things on the home computer that you might not have access to on the iPad. Again, the number of things for which that's the case is shrinking, I think, but there still are some of those cases. The other thing that's pretty cool is if you close the session on the actual computer, you also have the option of, well, you don't have file sharing?
no.
Oh, that's too bad. Again,
Is that the purchase?
if I had my iPad, sorry. In the purchase version, you have the option to just open up, without opening up your screen or anything else, if you just want to get a file or a couple of files, or you want to move files around between computers, you can open up file sharing and basically drag and drop from one folder to another, from one machine to another, from one country to another, what doesn't matter, right? Which is a really cool feature. So I use that quite a bit. Again, if I've got a huge database of pictures that I keep in a hard drive on my home machine, and if I need the original of one of those pictures, I can go back through this, find the picture, and then bring it. Either I can just open it to look at it, I can email it, or I can drag it into my iPad and have it accessible here to do whatever I need to do with that. Okay, so it's a really slick machine, and it does a nice job for me. Use it quite a bit. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Do you need to set any of the remote desktop access settings on your home or office machine?
You
For this to work?
You do, yes. I mean, what happens is you can add a machine either from the iPad or from the machine itself. You can log me in and say add this computer, and you would then it would be added, and you would have an ID and a password as part of that, right? It doesn't really require any, I don't recall anyway, doing any changes in settings on my home computer. But it was all through the Log Me In program. As I recall, I haven't done it for a little while, but I mean, we can try it and see. Other questions? Thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
When you drag files to your iPad,
Yeah.
the iPad operating system really doesn't have a file system to it.
It does if you have Log Me In.
So it adds it to it, basically.
It basically gives you, it's called local files. I can show you when my iPad comes back. It's called local files, and you can open that, and you can get into photos, and you can get into folders that have been saved. It doesn't do it by application, so you can't open up your pages, for instance, files. But I believe there's a way to access those if you get through enough of the levels. So it's basically creating a file sharing situation within the iPad that works pretty slick.
Dan, if you want to switch accounts, if you want to go ahead and do that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
If you
idea.
go to settings at the top, just close
Yeah.
whatever this is. And
You have something at the reference desk. Why aren't you there? Let me just.
No, be in the app. You're right where you're supposed to be.
In the app?
Yeah, go back to, and then go to settings at the top, the little, there you go. And then you should be able to switch my username to yours,
I don't think so.
like clear username. and
Oh, there we go.
password, yeah.
No, I think that resets your username and password.
Yeah, but then you should be able to go in and put yours in, right?
I can try it. Yeah, that's not right, I don't think. Let me just close it and open it again.
Okay.
Sorry. Although actually, I think if I do it this way, Andrew Bynum to have procedure, get out of here. No! Although this is what I had open on Diane's.
Yeah, it's a fix.
Oh, so you're going through the web, I got you.
Yeah. Because I think as long as you only have the free version, it won't let me do the pro version or the ignition version. I don't know. I think because it's based on the app for that, right? Okay, where am I? What am I in now? Okay, so it gets there, and if I go back to home, yeah, this is going to look different though.
left in.
Pressure's on.
But this isn't going to be what I wanted to show you. No, because actually the online version still has, a lot of access to the files and you can move them around and stuff, but it's not as slick as it is on the iPad, on the app version. So I won't, since I'm not remembering this access code anyway.
Well, you could have other people share stuff and then come back to it when you're down here.
Okay, happy to.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Please, go ahead.
You mentioned already one, I'm interested in sort of the big differences between this and some sort of syncing across all devices, because I use Dropbox for many sort of accessing files anywhere. But so one of the big differences, I guess, is if you need a particular application, so the example you gave with Word and track changes.
Yeah.
Are there other sorts of examples where something like this, and how it compares to a file share?
Well, in my case, the Dropbox hasn't been practical because I've got these huge photo folders that just, I don't know what the capacity is, but it's well beyond. Yeah. So in order to access I could put my Word files in Dropbox and share them between all devices. And I do have iCloud, which is another way to do that as well. But I think that's for I don't know if it's 1 gig or less of 5 gig. Oh, that's 5 gigs total, right? So whatever you choose to put in, if you put a little music and some pictures and, So in my case, in order to access all of the photo files that I have, I need something other than Dropbox. So that's been true. Of course, the iPad doesn't do Flash, right? So any program you use that requires Flash, you aren't going to be able to get on the iPad alone. But if you log into your home screen, you can access it and use it. So that's one additional thing. If you wanted to show something that required Flash or use something that required Flash. Other examples I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But that's basically what it boils down to me is I don't know what picture I'm going to need. If I go on a trip and somebody writes to me and says I need pictures of this site or this monument, I don't necessarily have with me the file. Unless I bring a hard drive along, I don't necessarily have the file with me. Anything else? Okay, I'm sorry that I really practiced this morning a lot. All right. No, wait, this is yours. Oh, sorry. This is Diane's. I don't want to lose that. In big trouble. Okay. Who's next?
And creating your own little mini app if you want to. If you have a favorite website you go to quite often, you want to be able to easily access it on your iPad without having to go to bookmarks or type in the website itself, you can go up here and say add to my home screen. It's going to ask you to come up with a title. I'll just leave it as movies. I add it. It pops up there. So now I can just bang, Rotten Tomatoes, or whatever you want to go to. The other thing I was going to show is, and I don't know if Marta's going to touch on, this is a cute little thing, is if you don't like to use, you all have keyboards, but if you don't like to use the standard keyboard, if you're texters, you can separate this and use it like you're texting if you want to. So my wife says, so my wife is an elementary librarian. She had a couple teachers come to her and say, I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. It's separated like this. I don't know what to do. I've been messing. She goes, point, that's all that needs to be done. So, okay, let's show you here. See?
Is that way?
There we go. So, two cool little things to show you.
Can I use that for just a second?
Absolutely.
How many of you are new to iPad? Okay, it's about half of you, okay. I think one of the cool things about the iPad is it doesn't really, on the downside, doesn't really multitask like a computer does, but it will suspend the tasks that you've been working on, and you can come back to them fairly easily. Okay, iPads only have one button, okay, over here, and if you double-click there, gives you at the bottom row your most recently used application. So you don't have to close and then reopen and so forth. So just double click and it takes you back to the.
Those are actually your running apps.
Yeah, what's the?
Well, yes.
Your battery life is dying, then you shut those down.
True,
So how do you
yes.
shut the sucker down once
That's the
it's?
big thing.
You hold, push on one of them and hold it. Just put your finger on any one and hold it.
Okay, is it all right for me to shut your
Stop.
keynote?
Now take your finger off, and now you can close whatever ones you want.
Thank you.
Just hit the mouse. Go
Well-
ahead.
Yeah, it's not
Go
gonna
ahead.
really stop running.
Okay, like so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bruce? Hey, Bruce.
You gotta push this button.
Swipe to the left.
If you push the button.
Oh, yeah.
Well, down.
On the bottom, on the bottom.
The purpose of that is to
Oh.
move.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and swipe those other
Yeah.
items.
You got a lot.
On my other left? That's to the right.
Your other left.
Oh, all the way over
And there
here.
you can control your sound and play music and stuff like that too.
This is a business machine, I don't have any music.
Yeah, right. Oh, Lord, everything in the world is running.
Hey, Bruce,
right now.
try this if you
Right,
drag
that's-
your
my son showed
fingers
me
up or down. and
when I
right
complained
look at
about
your
how
dock
bad
is
the
what-
battery was.
I was,
So if you take it
Not
all
very
away,
well.
how do
There
you
you
get
go.
back?
Yeah.
Does it come up again every time you add it?
You just go back to the home screen and open it.
All right, so I just wanted to mention, as I mentioned earlier, there actually is a Gmail app. You can see it up on the upper left. So if you go into the App Store and you search for Gmail, you can load that particular application. Then it's going to essentially be for your Carthage mail. I just like it better because I find the interface to be a little bit more intuitive. I can easily, not that Marta didn't show me a way around this, but if I want to delete a whole bunch of messages at once, I can do it this way. And then the other one, unless I do something fancy over on the left, it makes me look at each one before I can delete it.
So, how did you get to where you are? I'm sorry, I lost the.
Oh, now I have to be able to figure out how to get back to my inbox. I think I just click on inbox. Like that? No, not like that. Hang on a
But
second.
I mean the Gmail part.
Right. Essentially, what I've got is I have an actual Gmail app. It's up on the upper left-hand corner. See, it looks like the envelope, as opposed to just using the mail app right here. Okay. You can obviously set up, if you've got 14 different mail accounts, you can set them all up in the regular mail thing. But okay, I'm going to click on, since you can't see my fingers, I'm going to click here, this bottom one, and you'll notice another thing. I'm going to show you this in just a second too. You'll notice that over on the left, for example, unless I do something that Marta showed me that I don't remember what it is, I don't have check boxes. I'd have to go and look at each one separately. What did you show me? Edit. Oh yeah, if you click on edit, all of a sudden, sorry, I got to click that first. Let me show you this first, okay? I wanted to show you quickly because people like to complain, why do I have to change my password every 120 days, okay? And now that it changes your Google password, one of the things that people started saying was, well, now I have to go into all my mobile devices and I have to change my password. Okay, well, we're not going to get stressed out over that. It's telling me right now that it can't get my Gmail because guess what? This morning I got the message that said, your password is going to expire in 3 days. And I thought, oh, great. Well, actually, it told me that last Friday, and never want to change your password on a Friday. It's probably a really bad idea because by the time you come back on Monday, you're like, crap, I changed it on Friday. What did I change it to? So let's say this happens. You've changed your Novell password and it zipped through and it changed your Gmail password, and now you go to whether it's your phone or this device and it goes, crap, I can't log in. So I'm going to hit settings. And it's going to take me to this setting, and I'm going to say, oh yeah, my password changed. Delete that password. You can all see my new password now.
Thank you.
Okay, so there we go, done. Okay, who knows, maybe it didn't like that one either, but that is the right password. Actually, I probably typed in the wrong number. See, and that wasn't worth complaining about, was it? Okay, so, so now I'm back stuck here in settings. So I'm gonna go back, and I have to figure out how to get back to my regular screen that I wanted to get to.
Tap clear
Tap clear.
on the right.
Clear? Oh, clear. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now it went back to where it was. Thank you. So, like I said, now we're back in the regular Gmail app. I just like that better, I think, like I said, than the regular mail app. Besides, when I'm, when I'm here during the day, I don't necessarily need to read all my personal mail. I just want to read my work mail. Okay.
Carol, can you add an attachment from here?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Because in the regular one, I didn't see a way to add an attachment.
There it is.
Is there? Okay.
Okay, so let me add, for example, it's from the photos or whatever that I have. This was my screenshot that we did with Marta originally, so let's go ahead and add that. I don't know if that's, okay, that's previewing. Use, okay, that's good. I'm hitting use. And, oh, the other reason why, like I said earlier, why I like using this Gmail one is because it's actually aware of the Carthage email accounts. They're all there. I don't have to worry about populating my contacts and all this kind of crud. Anybody that's in the Carthage thing will be here. So somebody I've never sent a message to Brant Carlson before, so if I start, actually I probably have just a moment ago, but it wasn't on this device. Okay, so that pops that up. Okay? But I don't want to send this message really.
Chris Plain has a question.
Okay.
So I just sent myself a PDF because I wanted to play with it.
Okay.
Where did it go?
What?
I emailed myself a PDF and I opened up my iPad and I downloaded it and I thought, well, where is that picture?
You have to have a reader downloaded.
You have to have a what?
Adobe Reader on your iPad.
Oh.
Well, or.
Or something.
So I just have
So
to
you just go to
download.
App Store and say
Okay.
Adobe Reader is free.
And then it'll put it in that folder or something.
It should open it in Pages. Your Pages?
No, I just got the Office one.
Okay. When you open the document, if you tap it, it should say open in at the top, and then whatever options you have should be available up there. Try it. See.
Because it just showed it,
Yeah.
and then I had a hard time getting out of it. If I
Mm.
go to Quick Office Pro, now it should be there, you're saying?
No, go back to your message.
Oh, keep going.
Oh, okay, well here. All right, so let's take a look at this. There's like 65 PDFs attached to this document to this email right here. So if I wanted to look at one of them, I'm gonna click on it and it's gonna open. Didn't take anything special. But now if I wanted to save it, I have no idea how to save it. Let's go back to my mail. Not sure either. Yeah. Right, there's not really any place to put it.
Yeah, it's still attached to that email, so it'll still be there.
Right. But sometimes if you hold on to things for a while, yeah, it's not gonna. Okay. Yeah, you can easily look at it. It's not a problem to open it. All right, next.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Speaking of Google Chrome, I'm going to go in through a browser, and you sort of have to start in the email. Yeah, you probably could go to docs.google.com. But if I go into email here and I go to more at the top of the screen here, if I can hit it properly, you'll see that you've got all of these Google items here. And if I go to Docs, you're going to see a mobile view. And I'm going to be showing you how to switch out of the mobile view for a number of things. For example, if you look real close at the bottom of the screen, come on now, it's not gonna let me make it bigger when I'm connected to an external projector. You'll see the word desktop right here. And I'm gonna click on that word desktop, and all of a sudden, your Google Docs is gonna look like it does on the desktop. Now, if I go to iPad, how to sign up, you'll notice it comes up in the mobile view of the spreadsheet. That drives me nuts. I gotta click on the edit here at the end of the line to edit a line and so forth. But if you look at the very top of the screen up there, it says go to spreadsheet view. I'm gonna go to spreadsheet view, and then it's gonna give me a warning. It says the browser you're using may not support all the features. I'm gonna continue anyway. And now I'm in the standard spreadsheet view like you normally would have, and I can click on a cell and I can type in it.
Okay, everybody freak us out by logging into the same document
Yeah.
right now, and we can see where it'll say like 6 other viewers, and people can like add their names.
Come on now,
and-
keyboard work. My keyboard's acting up on me for a second here. But I should be able to type right into it. Yeah. Anyway, that's how it's supposed to work. My keyboard's not working right this second. Let me try it back in here again and see. Oh, somebody else is in there. And if you've ever been in here and you see all these little colored boxes appearing in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually hover over those colored boxes and they'll tell you who each of them is. All the people that are in there. So anyway, that's how it looks on spreadsheets. Similarly, if you go to a standard document, let's go to the CLIS staff schedule here. When it first comes up, you can't edit it at all. It won't do anything. So again, if you go to the very bottom as opposed to the very top, there's again where it says desktop down here, and you click on desktop, continue to desktop version.
Can you make that default?
I haven't figured it out. There may be a way to default into it. I now can type in here, get in here and start typing stuff in this document. As well, at least in theory. So that's just a way to get into the desktop versions of the documents so that you can edit them. One other little tip that has nothing to do with this. And of course, everybody's on wireless right now, so the thing's pokey. I'm going to go back out here. If you want to change what's on this bar on the bottom of the screen, all you have to do is grab an icon and drag it. And you can drop it down there. Or take it back out again. So if you wanted to change, and then once you change that, for example, I've got Skype on the bottom here. I mean, it's there all the time as an option. I put my Google Mail down there because I didn't want to use the mail client. I used the Gmail client, so I stuck it down there. And that's all I was going to show.
You can also, sorry,
Go ahead.
go back and if you wanted to move Ustream to the other page, you could show that too.
Okay, and how do I finish that move?
Just drag it to the middle and hold it. Don't,
You're half off.
it's halfway to the other screen. Just wait a okay, now you're in there.
Okay.
Does everybody know how to combine things into folders? Because I use folders a lot. Folders are nice.
So let's say, here's the example I gave. Let's say we wanted to put, go over to the left, Mike, so that you see the one with the cameras and stuff. So let's say we want to go one more screen to the left. Sorry, Mimi. So let's say we wanted for FaceTime, camera, and photo booth to all be in the same, in like a folder together, because they're all camera apps. So let's say, like, click and hold FaceTime so that they all start to wiggle.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry. Okay, now drag it on top of camera. Grab FaceTime and drag it on top of camera. Okay. now it's in a folder. Which productivity is a stupid name for this, so I had named mine something like camera apps or something. See if it'll let you type.
Now it lets me type.
Yeah. Okay, I think hit enter, or I think that's pretty much it. Now you could grab photo booth and drag it over into the same thing if you wanted to,
Oh,
and
that's
now
nice,
it's
yeah.
in a folder too. So, actually, Marta showed me how to do that, so I don't quite know.
Thank you, Marta.
How would you undo that?
Just click the
Just
whole-
drag it.
Drag it back out.
Yeah. If you drag the last one out, it's like, yeah, then
And then it goes away.
I'm going to talk about some media features, at least the ones that I'm aware of, and I've had a chance to mess around with it, explore. You might have already experimented with camera, but I'm going to click it on anyways. And
That's your finger.
here's the camera. This is the problem. That's the other problem I was going to go over. Where's the camera? It's right here. Here's the camera app here. I'm going to push it back to camera. See, on the camera app, there is a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera. The front-facing is standard definition, great for the FaceTime app if you use FaceTime. I have used FaceTime, but I'm not an expert at it. I FaceTime with my son on his iPhone. There's a rear-facing one, so on the bottom you can see the camera icon, and you switch between the rear and the front. I'm going to quickly switch to the back one. Now, on this one, I don't know if it shows up. You see the grid? On the bottom, there's options, and that turns on the grid for me, and that's good if you're using the rule of thirds for composition. I find it very helpful. And also, when you're shooting, this is photo and also applies for video, I can touch the screen if I want to lighten up an area. And it's not so prevalent now, but if I touch a screen, it'll lighten it up. It also helps me adjust the focus. You can see how it's trying to adjust the focus for me. So I have an area, let's say I have somebody I want to take a photo of, happens to be in front of a window or a bright area. I can touch the person on the screen and the person will brighten up. It'll bleach out the background, but it'll help you. There's not a lot of degree of sophistication here, but you can do some cool things with it. Also, if I take the photo, and you take the photo with the camera icon in the corner, I am going to take a photo. Like it or not, I am going to take a photo. Photo winds up in the corner. I can click that, bring up the photo again, and there it is. Now this will also, I'll talk about the photo app, which you can do, but here there are some editing features you can apply to your photo. I'll talk a little bit about maybe downloading some more sophisticated photo editing apps, because there's no degree of sophistication for this app whatsoever. So let's just get rid of that. Well, let's keep it for now.
How do you put that on Facebook?
Well, actually, right there. I can email it. I can tweet it. I don't know if Facebook's apparently not an option, and I can copy it. And you can copy the photo, and then if you want to input it into an email or some kind of Word document, you can just automatically grab it. It goes through the clipboard.
The Facebook app will take pictures and put it up.
Right. And I'm not sure directly from camera, but you might have to be able to access it through some other source. On the bottom right, I can flick over to video. And it looks a little different. I lose that option. And you can see on the side there, the red button. So if I press that, I can try to get my shot queued up here. Press that. Starts flashing. I see the numbers indication on the corner that tells me I am recording. And again, if I stop, it goes in the corner here, and I can call it up and play it again if I want to. and I can email it, send it to YouTube directly. I wouldn't send it to YouTube directly, I would probably edit it a little bit, but you have that option.
We're not seeing anything on the screen.
Do you know what format it saves in? Is that an?
Well, I know the rear camera is HD 720p, I believe.
It's probably an H.264 file.
Right. It works, it marriages very well with iMovie. In fact, with iMovie, I'll talk about that in a minute. iMovie, you can record directly into iMovie, but it's recommended you use the camera feature because then you can access it a lot easier through other apps. If you record directly with iMovie, you really can only access that video in iMovie. We'll talk about that in a minute. So basically, very simple, take your pictures. I'll show you an example of some things I have done using the iPad because I anticipated this class. I wanted to take a bunch of pictures with my iPad to see what the capabilities are. You're not going to get close-up of the deer in the forest with it unless you really run up. It's going to be real tough. And you're very fast. Ain't going to happen. I tried. So let's see, lightning focus. One thing I did notice, when I use iCamera and I take a video, I can do some really, really basic video editing in the video that I just recorded with the camera feature. So we get out of here. You can see on top, there's a timeline. Now I can scroll. You lost the video. Okay. Hopefully you can see the timeline. Can you? No? Well, I'll make that happen. Oh, see, it's telling me I can't do it both, but up here you can see I can actually just skim through my video if I want to. Here, I touch on the timeline, it goes yellow.
Well, Mike, disconnect your VGA from your iPad.
It goes yellow, and when it goes yellow, then I can actually trim my shot. If I want to trim the beginning and end of it, then I say I'm happy with it, I press trim. It's going to give me two options. Trim the original, meaning I accept this as a trim video and everything else is going to go away. Or I can save it as a new clip. I'm going to keep my original clip. I'm saving this trimmed one as a new clip. So you have that option. Now, it used to be that option was available in Photo app. I didn't find it in Photo app anymore, but we'll go through the Photo app right now. Connect it back up here. All right. So, Photo app. I have mine on the bottom here, Photo. Now let's switch this back a bit. I do have a lot of images in there. Okay, admittedly, these weren't all taken with the iPad. Okay, I did bring in some of these photos through iTunes from my son's camera, but maybe I will go back to here. You could see some of these here. With the photos, everything you take is in Photos. So if you take video, you take photos, they wind up in that Photo app here, under Photos. So everything is right here, under Photos, all my photos. If I want to look at a photo, I can just tap it. There it is. I can, of course, flick to go between the photos if I want to. If I double tap, it enlarges it. I can move around. I can flick, or it can expand like that if I want to, whatever I like to do. Go back to Photos. If I want to create an album of like photos, so these are pictures when we went to the Renaissance Fair a couple weeks ago. If I want to create an album of photos from the Renaissance Fair, I can go to Albums and edit and create a new album called Ren Fair. F-A-I-R-E. Then I select the photos that I want to go in that album. Now, right now I'm selecting photos that are landscape, more horizontal. The reason I'm doing that is because I eventually want to show you how to create a slideshow automatically. And slideshows always seem to work better if they're all the same orientation. You can work horizontal, vertical, but I prefer to have a slideshow where they're all the same type of orientation. So I have an album here. Oops, let's go back. Here's the album here. I can flick that open too if I want to. Bang. So there's my album. Now, going back to photos here, there are different ways to take photos. There are different ways you can add photos. I forgot to bring, well, just mention it. You can go to, let's say, a website. Let's see if I go here. And I want to take a picture of a wolf and add it to my photos. I could just hold on to that and say save image. I go back to photos. And at the bottom, there's my photo. The other way, I think Marta showed you, when you first received your iPad, you can press the home button and the power button together and get a desktop image. That should wind up in your photos as well, hopefully. There it is, popped up there. Another way is I bought a $30 device that allows me to plug into the side of my iPad and then plug in an SD card. So if you take some photos with your more expensive camera, you can put those in through an SD card with that adapter. It's a $30 adapter.
I think that comes together with the one with USB.
With the USB as well.
And then you can plug that into a camera that doesn't use an SD card.
Right, there you go, absolutely. I suppose if you want to bring in your photos to be able to show people and stuff, again, if you want to manipulate or work with your photos, it's probably better off using the Photoshop or your desktop or your laptop to do that. But there are some programs available on here. For instance, I downloaded a program just earlier today. Where's it? PicShop Lite. And maybe I'll go. Nope, not camera. Let's go to gallery. And my camera, let's go to Renfair. Pick a picture. This one gives me, this is a free app, but there is a purchased version of it. It's probably more feature rich. It gives me a lot of options to adjust the brightness and contrast. Blemishes, if you have a close-up of somebody who literally has blemishes, you can, to some degree, eliminate that with different filters. So it's a lot of things you can do and then save your image that way. If you want to do some photo manipulation, you want to clean up your photo, you want to crop it a little bit before you add to your slideshow, that's a possibility. Well, let's go back to our album here, Renfair. That's pretty cool. I'm happy with the number of photos I have in there. They're good photos. I played around with them. They're cropped. Work with me here. I'm going to create a slideshow, so I press in slideshow here. It gives me some options or transitions. Oh, doesn't it? Well, it's supposed to. I guess it's not. Oh, let me try the options. Typically, I don't know why it's not doing it here, but typically it gives me different transition options. The standard dissolve usually works real well. I can play music, and the music I'm selecting is music that's in my iTunes library. So, Mannequin Sansara, we can play that. The other thing you can do a little more adjusting with your slideshows. I can go to settings, and I can go to photos. And then I can adjust there how long each slide is supposed to be up. So I'm going to go back. If I want to have the slide repeat and shuffle, if I want to, every time it repeats, it just shuffles the photos around in a different order. I put yes for all that. So if I select everything, I start the slideshow, and I don't know if we have music here. Again, awesome. Not really doing the zone, but gives you an idea. I'm actually entertaining this option for new student convocation. I have some students run around and take some photos of the new students coming in and checking into the dorm rooms. Then we like to show something before they gather together for new student convocation. I can give a student an iPad. I say, take a bunch of photos. You can quickly and easily edit those photos, eliminate the ones you don't want, create an album, bang, start a slideshow, quick as easy as you can. Okay, let's go back. Back to albums, go back to photos. On the bottom, I have a lot of video. This was taken at the Pike Creek Rendezvous. And again, I can skim through the video if I want to. Can't really see it up here, but I can skim through it if I want to. Used to have the option where I can trim in photos, but it doesn't seem to have that option. It appears that if I want to do any trimming at this level, I have to do it in the camera option after I've recorded it. But I'm going to show you iMovie, so you can do it in iMovie as well. And you can tell the difference between the photos here, that's my son and his girlfriend, by the way, and the videos, and that's my dog, by the way, by the fact that the videos have numbers, the videos have this little video icon on them, so you can pretty much tell the difference there. Anything else I missed? It does have different categories. The photos category is pretty much everything. Everything you have is in there. The albums, as I mentioned, is you create albums based on themes that you would like. Events, basically they're categorizing the photos by when you took them. Faces, because I imported some of these from my iPhoto on my Mac laptop, I created a category of faces where it does face recognition. I have to work with it a little bit, but it does do face recognition eventually, so I, of course, categorize my whole family right here by face recognition, and you can select places too. It can, as an option, these are the photos I took at this place. I find it very cool, but again, I would recommend if you want to do any major editing of the photos, download some kind of cool photo editing app to mess with. As far as, okay, let's go into iMovie a little bit. Because I showed you the slideshow. Here's iMovie. And I believe, did you say everyone has iMovie as an app?
They can request to have it.
They can request, I think it's like a $5 download. And maybe if you have a Mac, you're somewhat familiar with iMovie. Most Macs have iMovie on there. Of course, the iMovie on a Mac is more sophisticated than the iMovie on an iPad, but you can still do a lot. You can do some cool stuff with this. First thing I do is I open up my iMovie. What I want to do is create a project. So I press play, new project. It's going to download all the videos, including the one we just took. that I have in my photo file. You see all the videos are up here. This is my browser window right here. Let me go back a little bit here. You'll see it a little bit better. No? Yes. There we go. So right here is my browser window. These are my videos. And what it does is I start and stop. If I shot a little bit of video, stop, start it up again, shot a little bit more, those are video segments that it includes. So I want to do some editing, and I want to put the videos on my timeline. The timeline is the bottom thing on the screen. So I go up here, for instance, this video. You can see how it's surrounded by yellow, and it's not that apparent here, but there's handles, yellow handles. So that's for trimming as well. So I can move the handle over left or right to trim my video. Then do the down arrow. I press the down arrow, goes into the timeline. I'm going to go here, do the same thing. Just trim it, down arrow, goes into the timeline. We'll do a couple more. There's Maya checking out another dog. And we'll go Maya getting her ear scratched. So there's the timeline, that's the video. This bar right here is the sort of the head placement. If I wanted to, let's say, add a photo to my timeline, I have a bunch of videos, I want to add a photo to it. I place this where I want that red bar, where I want the photo, and I go up to the 2 squares there. And go up to my photo library and just choose a photo they might want to add. See if I find a nice horizontal one. This one here. And pops in it. Bang. It does sort of the Ken Burns effect, they call it, where the photo moves. Now with iMovie app on the iPad, what you do is you select various themes that they have to offer. Included with the themes are a different type of type style and music that goes along with the theme, if that's what you want to add. So if I was to double click this segment, title style, opening, I go, let's say, Maya on patrol. I'm gonna put I can adjust the volume of the actual sound of the video that I took if I want to. So let's say you want to create a music video, you don't want natural sound. So each clip you just turn this down all the way so you don't hear the natural sound. Or, as it says there, I can delete the clip altogether. You see that's pretty simple. You see how my own controls on the left, kind of opaque. I go up here on top to that little flower icon. That's where you have your different themes. So I have a theme that says travel, CNN report, news, simple. Let's do playful. I'm going to turn on the theme music. I'm going to tell it to fade in and fade out in black, so the whole thing's going to fade up and fade out. And that works. So you can see now, all of a sudden, my control is different. So I selected a different theme, and I'm turning on the music that goes with it. Let's see if this will work again. Obviously nothing to do with Pike Creek Rendezvous, that's on the Ren Fair, but that's how they greet each other. It's a perfectly acceptable form. There are a bunch of other things you could do with it. How you can split your videos if you need to, how you can add another track of audio if you need to. There's a lot of cool features, but basically I just want to show you some of the basic parts of it. I anticipate that we would have the iMovie app on the iPads in circulation, and I would encourage students to take it out and do some practicing playing around. Videotape with the camera app, do some editing with the iMovie. Once you're done, I can go back to my project and I can, oops, let's go back to the project. I can name the project Maya again. Oops, let's go back. And there I can share it to YouTube, directly to your YouTube account. Put it right up in your YouTube account if you want to, and that's what I've done. Takes a little while if you have a long video, or Facebook, Vimeo, all those other ones. Or it can just put it right back to your camera roll as a video, if you'd like to do that. So, I know you've been waiting for this. I can see the excitement in your eyes. So I'm going to show you the epic that was created entirely with an iPad and edited entirely with an iPad. Done completely on an iPad, so it can be done. Just letting you know. So that's it. It's my epic Emmy material.
Good job.
Thanks. I also have my On Patrol 2 and 3. If you go to my YouTube site.
But I did have a list of things that I thought everybody should know before they leave. And we got through a lot of them during the show and tell, but there's a few more that I just want to make sure people are aware of. Looking around at your iPads, I think most of you know about this. I'm going to start off in settings. Looks like most of you have figured out that you can change the wallpaper on your, looks like a lot of people have different wallpapers on theirs already, but I just want you to be aware that in settings you can change the wallpaper that shows up in the background, and then also there is one as well for, if I go to click it off, for that screen as well. And then also under settings, just to be aware that You know what? This is the wrong one. Like, why isn't this looking right? Too many iPads floating around that I can't keep track of them all. For those that choose to keep their mail the way that it is, within settings, yeah. Be aware that you can put your signature in as well, so that it shows at the bottom. The default setting for your signature is sent from my iPad. So if you want to change it so that every email you send out has your name and location and maybe phone number too, if you like to give that out. Again, that's under settings and mail and signature. So that can be changed too. There are a couple of questions about copying and pasting. So first I'm going to go into Safari. And to copy text, you really just need to hold it down. And then the little magnifying glass comes up. And then you have the option, it says select all. So I'm going to do select all. And then it asks you cut, copy, paste. So copy. And I'll just open up a new browser and I should be able to paste. And go. So again, to copy text, you kind of have to hold it down for a while and then it'll give you the option to copy and then it'll say select all and then you can, again, hold it down wherever you want it later. I'll go into, I have Dropbox on mine, so I'm just going to go into a document on there. You can also do a paragraph. So once you have it like that, you'll notice there's the little buttons on the top and the bottom, and you can kind of drag as much as you want. And again, choose copy. And I'll just go into notes. In any application where you can type, you should be able to, again, paste all that text. Okay. And then the last thing is just a few features in Safari itself. You'll notice a lot of times on web pages. So for example, everybody knows if I click on the title of one of these features that it's going to open that article for me. But sometimes you want to open in a new tab, and the way to open something in a new tab is, again, you're going to want to hold it down, and it'll give you the option, open in a new tab, add to reading list, copy, and so on, and then I can open in a new tab. And let's see, just to make sure I get through all these. Oh yeah, again, another one that might be helpful is sometimes if you have a website that's pretty long and you go all the way to the bottom, or if you have a long list, if you scroll all the way down, if you want to get up to the top again right away, you just need to click the black at the top, and it'll take you right to the top of the page again. So that's kind of a nice feature as well. And those are kind of just the extra ones that I had left over that nobody mentioned during the show and tell. But there's a lot more kind of like fun little quirky things like that you can find just by doing a Google search for iPad tips and tricks. There's tons of articles that people have written that give you all kinds of fun little stuff like that to do.
You know, there's an app called iPad Tips and Tricks.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of a fun app, because every day it just gives you some new little.
Oh, okay, so it's like a trick of the day?
Yeah, tip of the day.
Tip of the day,
It's
okay.
kind of fun. Some of them are stupid, but some of them are fun.
Does anybody have any kind of questions before we end today? I know it's kind of a lot to absorb and and whatnot. Yep, Wenji?
Someone might have mentioned this. Is there any equivalent of my computer's iPad?
Of my computer?
Like, is there a iPad app serves the function of managing files on iPad?
I don't know of any. I mean, for me, it's kind of everything's in its own location. Each app is kind of separate, and then that's kind of how it works. I mean, I know with certain ones, it'll allow you to put things in Dropbox or take things out of there and Google Drive and so on, but they are kind of all their own little,
So there's no central file.
no. I mean, there's a central pictures area, but there isn't a central file area, as far as I know.
The log me in does that to an extent. I wish I could show you.
At the first iPad user group meeting, Dan will get to show his log me in better.
Not the free version, the pro version.